From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Well, the heat is on. It's the hottest day of 2020, but did we reach triple digits? Bob's in shortly to give us that answer. Plus, the name game. Zoo Montana's new sloth has a new name. We'll unveil it in just a bit. And Governor Steve Bullock announces a Montana solution to the backlog of coronavirus testing. This as COVID-19 claims 2 more lives in Montana. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us midweek. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, COVID-19 has now claimed 42 lives across the state. Today, Montana reports 2 more deaths and more than 100 new cases. A Yellowstone County man in his 60s died in his home yesterday. His death marks the 19th in Yellowstone County. And Sweetgrass County has lost its first resident to coronavirus complications. A man in his 80s died in the hospital. Now, the state confirms another 104 positive cases today. 482 active cases in Yellowstone County and 79 next door in Bighorn County, 75 in Gallatin County tonight. Now, health authorities report 52 people are in the hospital. Now, Governor Steve Bullock with an announcement today to help Montana keep pace with COVID-19 testing. Q2's Russ Riesinger is standing by live in the Q2 newsroom to tell us more about this new partnership. Russ.
Well, Governor Bullock says he's found a Montana solution to ease the backlog for being able to get test results processed. Now, Bullock said the state had actually surpassed the testing target of 60,000 tests a month, performing 62,500 over the previous 4 weeks. We've shown you several of these Sentinel events, including this one at Shrine Auditorium in Billings. These are done for people who are asymptomatic to try and get a community snapshot. The community testing had to be halted because Quest, the company hired by the state to process the test, is running so far behind. Well, Bullock was joined today by Montana State University President Whitehead Cruzado to announce a partnership that will help increase testing capacity again.
Our state lab's working with the university on the validation of their machines even as we speak. And we anticipate that the university's lab will be able to begin testing live samples from 500 people per day starting as early as next week.
Montana State has the necessary expertise among our students, faculty, and staff to run this project and to assist our state. Our researchers have poured their enthusiasm, their creativity, and their energies into making this a reality.
Now, Bullock says that a contract is also being finalized with a lab out of North Carolina that will be able to run at least 1,000 tests a day. He says the target is still to, at some point, get back to the 60,000 tests a month. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, Russ. Well, the uptick in positive cases means local public health officials are stretched thin with contact tracing. In Bighorn County, officials estimate more than 1,000 people have been informed of a possible contact with someone who may have COVID-19. So officials are urging people to pick up the phone if the health department is calling.
When someone calls you from public health, please answer the phone or return the call. It's very important. They are there to help and to teach and to do whatever they can to get you through this.
In Yellowstone County, public health officials tell us they fell behind in contact tracing, but got caught up yesterday after enlisting the help of other Riverstone Health employees. On an average day, about 25 people right now help with contact tracing here in Yellowstone County. Officials say there's more people to contact at this stage of the pandemic when people are leaving their homes more often.
What we're seeing is as people are out and about more, that number of contacts per case has increased pretty substantially. So we frequently have 5 to 10 or more contacts per positive case. So yesterday we had 27 new cases, so we could easily be talking about 150 to 200 contacts identified out of those 27 interviews.
Now, to take the pressure off Riverstone Health, Felton says the county will get the help of 23 student nurses to assist in that contact tracing, and it can be done over the phone, so student nurses can help from anywhere across the state. Well, Yellowstone County authorities are now investigating after they pulled a man's body from the Yellowstone River today. A citizen called dispatch just before noon to report a body in the water near Huntley. Sheriff Mike Linder says it was near this part of the bridge with the debris. This is the south side of the bridge just west off of Huntley turnoff. Deputies responded and recovered the body by 1:30 this afternoon. Linder says the man had been in the river for several days and had no identification. The sheriff says he hopes to have more information tomorrow after an autopsy. And now turning to Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire. Bob, it is hot out there. Just yeah. How hot?
Well, a lot of folks wanted, do we get to 100 degrees? And probably maybe downtown, but where the official measurement is, no, not yet. This is what we were as of news time. We are at the 98 degrees, but look at places like Sheridan, 103, Miles City, 100 degrees. So is this like the warmest day on record so far? Well, not on record, but it is the warmest day of the year so far. Here's what we have here. You can see on July 17th, we got up to 96 degrees. On June 13th, it was also 96. Before that, on May 31st, 2020, we had gotten up to 92 degrees. So far, we've had no 100-degree days yet in 2020, but we're awful close. And we still got another hour. We'll see if we can knock it up another couple of degrees to get to 100. But right now, we're officially right at 98 degrees. That's the number that will go into climatology records in Washington, D.C. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, with this heat will come Montana fires. A team of wildland firefighters from the Northwest was recently called to action in Arizona. And as MTN's Russ Thomas reports, due to coronavirus, flames were just part of the challenge.
Northern Rockies wildland firefighting Type 1 Incident Commander Mike Gokachia led a team of nearly 75 firefighters to one of the first big national wildland fires of the season, the Bighorn Fire located in the Coronado National Forest in Arizona. He says the challenges that come with the rapid spread of COVID-19 are like none he's faced before.
There was a lot of spreading out the firefighting resources, not a big camp anymore. There was multiple base camps, if you will, that have all the logistical support that we need to support the firefighters. It's just a lot more logistical challenges is what we experienced.
The policies put in place, like keeping the new standard of 6 feet distance, wearing masks unless it compromised their work, and a mandatory mask rule if forced to be within the 6-foot distance rule, were self-enforced. Gokachia says his team did an outstanding job of complying. Other measures like conference calls and Zoom meetings instead of the typical face-to-face briefings are now utilized. The main concern comes around camps.
There wasn't a huge issue or concern around the firefighters once they're up on the hill and on the fire. It's when they're that intermingling with the community and whatnot and all the additional people.
Much like adjustments are made by states, as the coronavirus has slowed down in some and picked up in others, adjustments are continually being made both during and after wildfires are fought.
Discuss what worked, what didn't. Every scenario is going to be different. You just got to use the basics and go in and figure out what's going to work and what's not.
Gokachia is proud of how his team fared and says when rules are followed, the outcome will almost certainly be positive.
If you can take 70 people into a hot zone, and I can safely report as of today, everybody made it back home and no one within my incident management team tested positive. It works. You just have to believe in it.
This is good news as we head into what is forecasted to be an active wildfire season across much of the Northwest. In Missoula, Russ Thomas, MTN News.
Now, if a firefighter is around someone who tests positive for COVID-19 for 15 minutes and they were not wearing a mask, they have to get tested and they can't join their team until they are confirmed negative. Well, a landmark bill to pay for maintenance at the nation's national parks and permanently fund conservation projects nationwide cleared its final hurdle in Congress Wednesday. The House passed the Great American Outdoors Act, and Montana's only congressman, Republican Greg Gianforte, voted yes. Now, the bill passed the House on a 310 to 107 vote and now heads to the president's desk for his expected signature into law. Now, conservation advocates and others hailed the bipartisan bill, which permanently funds the Land and Water Conservation Fund and begins paying for deferred maintenance at national parks. Gianforte, who's running for governor, spoke on the House floor in favor of the bill today. He said the measure will increase access to public lands and that he would work to keep public lands in control of the public. Gianforte also noted the importance of our national parks and how they're in need of repair.
People from around the world come to tour our outstanding national parks, including millions of visitors every year to Yellowstone and Glacier. Unfortunately, too many of our parks have fallen into disrepair. This bill begins to rebuild and repair our parks.
The Land and Water Conservation Fund has paid for dozens of land access and public recreational projects in rural and urban areas of Montana. Well, the nation's largest private servicer of student loans has been under fire for allegedly bungling a program meant to forgive loans to graduates who go into public service jobs. Well, now a Montana man has won a key ruling from the Montana Supreme Court in his lawsuit against the loan servicer. Now, James Revis sued the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency 2 years ago, saying it was not accurately recording his student loan payments. He says he worried the mistakes might prevent him from qualifying for loan forgiveness worth as much as $250,000. Now, a judge in state court threw out the lawsuit, saying any dispute is covered by federal law. But last week, a unanimous Montana Supreme Court overturned that decision and said Revis can claim in state court that the agency is violating Montana's consumer laws. Last year, the Pennsylvania group denied 99% of the people trying to get their loans forgiven. Now, attorneys general in other states say the loan servicer has botched student loan forgiveness for thousands of public servants. Revis, who works as an attorney for the State Office of Public Defender, says he just wants proper credit for his payments.
And I have tried for years, calling up their customer service hotline and trying to figure out why don't the numbers on this bill match the number of payments that I've actually been making. I really just want to solve that issue so I can have some certainty on where my life is going to be once my 10 years or 120 payments is up.
Revis's case now heads back to state court, where it could still face a long legal road ahead. Well, we have a winner after more than 1,000 different name suggestions and more than 8,000 votes online. Zoo Montana's new two-toed sloth finally has his name. Meet Winston. Well, today Zoo Montana and Stockman Bank, which is sponsoring Winston's home, announced the winning name. Winston is said to be excited about his new name. Well, as excited as a sloth can be. Winston expects to be hanging out in his new home at Zoo Montana by the end of next month. For more information on Winston and Zoo Montana, head to ktvq.com. Up next on tonight's Q2 530 News, the town of Gardner picking up the pieces after last week's fire destroyed several historical businesses. We'll take you there. And tonight in sports, Scott hears from Billings hockey player Jake Doty in Missoula for the summer, but climbing the NHL ladder.